It's a typical February day in Lake Worth Beach, Florida, and local resident Katie Thomas is driving down the road. A deputy from the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office pulls her over and makes a very specific accusation. She was holding her phone while driving, and she was holding it in her right hand. There is an immediate glaring problem with this claim. Katie Thomas does not have a right hand. She physically held up her arm to show the deputy repeatedly. Despite looking directly at the undeniable physical proof right in front of him, the officer chose to trust his initial flawed perception and wrote her a citation anyway. When someone is locked into a rigid procedure, like issuing a standard traffic ticket, their brain can literally refuse to process a reality that contradicts the script they are following. The legal threat dissolved exactly as you would expect. Before Katie even had to set foot inside a courtroom, the citation was dismissed for a complete lack of evidence. So why would an officer persist in such an obvious error? It points to a critical gap in experience. When law enforcement officers have zero exposure to physical disabilities, their brains can misinterpret visual anomalies under the stress of a traffic stop. The dismissal confirmed the obvious. The interaction should never have reached a courtroom. The case vanished as quickly as it began, because the physical evidence required for the ticket simply didn't exist. The missing ticket leaves behind a larger issue. We are looking at a systemic blind spot in police training regarding physical disabilities. Katie shared the story online, and the internet reacted with immediate disbelief. Within weeks, her Instagram account surged, pulling in hundreds of thousands of new followers. The standard online playbook is to demand a public firing or a massive apology. Katie chose a different approach. She stated publicly that she doesn't want an apology from the unnamed deputy. An apology doesn't fix the root problem. What she actively demands is mandatory, systemic training for the entire police department. She argues that accountability requires active exposure to people with disabilities. As she put it, the officer needs to yearn to learn, rather than just go through the motions of forced forgiveness. Katie redirected the energy of the viral moment toward a specific goal: forcing a conversation about how police departments handle disability training. To help build that true accountability, Katie is using her massive new platform to advocate for a specific concept: limb difference. This diagram outlines limb difference in the medical community, covering 3 categories: limbs entirely missing, limbs not fully formed, and limbs formed differently. Despite how common these are, they are almost entirely absent from standard police training modules. When an officer encounters a limb-different driver during a high-adrenaline, unpredictable traffic stop, that training vacuum creates very real danger. A prosthetic arm, a shortened limb, or a completely missing hand can easily be mistaken for a weapon or non-compliance. In law enforcement, failing to recognize limb difference is a critical safety hazard that can turn a routine stop into a dangerous escalation. Beyond the viral headlines, Katie identifies primarily as a competitive adaptive athlete. This is the elite sporting environment she is entering. She is preparing for a July training camp to secure a roster spot on the U.S. women's sitting national team. This is a team with a serious pedigree, having taken home the gold medal at the 2016 Paralympic Games. She also has ambitions in the mainstream entertainment space. She wants to compete on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's NBC athletic competition series, The Titan Games. An officer judged her incapable of operating a car while she was preparing to compete at the highest levels of professional sport on national television. Katie Thomas experienced a moment of extreme public ignorance, and instead of just venting her frustration, she used it to build both an advocacy platform and an athletic brand. We have a responsibility to proactively educate ourselves on limb difference and to recognize the immense proven capabilities of adaptive athletes. Never underestimate an adaptive athlete, and certainly never write them a ticket for holding a phone in a hand they do not possess.